Yu is a pathetic loser who is bullied by everyone for being the only mediocre student in a school for prodigies. However, everything changes when he moves in with the three most talented girls in school, so he's forced to raise them up and clap them to make nepo babies. The story begins when Yu transfers to an elite school for prodigies. However, on his first day, Bro finds himself in the school gym, getting treated like a punching bag by a wannabe Mike Tyson, but despite his weakness, the people in the crowd still think he's a prodigy with hidden talent, because his mom was a globally renowned actress. As Yu makes it back to his feet, the dude tells Yu to grow some marbles, so Yu charges in while loudly declaring that he's not his mom, and the entire crowd holds their breath in anticipation. However, his twig arms only produce weak punches that feel like feather taps, so the boxer sends him flying with a brutal uppercut, making everyone conclude that he's a total failure who may have been adopted. The boxer decides to beat the talent out of him, but a barefoot baddie named Nico suddenly arrives and takes out the bully with a Liu Kang kick, leaving Yu completely stunned. Suddenly, two other elite baddies enter the room, and all the students start drooling as they realize that they're in the presence of the school's three royals, consisting of Kazuki, an Emma Stone-level actress, the smartest girl in school, Miwa, and the undefeated martial arts champion, Nico. As the students glaze them, Yu is frozen in shock because he can't believe that the three royals who rule the school are girls. However, even though they saved him, they still look down on him and command him to clean the gym, claiming that it's the proper role for a worthless dimwit like him. Later that evening, as Yu walks home, he remembers how he distanced himself from his mom because he could never measure up to her immense talent. However, when he found out that his mom was seriously ill, he visited her in the hospital, and they finally started to have wholesome conversations, which made Yu realize all she ever wanted was a close family. When Yu's mom eventually passed on, she left Yu a note which said that she wanted him to have a happy family. Back in the present, Yu arrives at his new foster home, and he's amazed that it's just as large and fancy as the Playboy Mansion. But suddenly, Nico appears, wrapped in a towel, and tries to behead him with a kick, thinking he's a burglar. Yu manages to dodge the kick, and he tries to explain himself, but when he sees that he's talking to Nico, he gets so stunned that he starts stuttering. While scolding him, Nico gets embarrassed and tries to leave, but she ends up falling on her stomach. So Yu teases that it's his favorite position, which catches her off guard. Suddenly, Kazuki and Miwa enter the room and start questioning him to find out how he broke into their home. But Yu gets a call from his new foster dad, who explains that he's taking him in because his mom was his old friend, and he wants her talent to live on. He then introduces the girls as his daughters and asks Yu to get along with them, which makes Yu and the girls freak out. The sisters are all bummed out by the fact that their dad brought a talentless incel to live with them. But Yu doesn't let that discourage him because he believes that he can become a proper family with them, just like his mother wanted. However, he notices that their house is just as messy as a JoJo fan's brain, and the royal morons claim that they're too busy to handle their chores, so Yu decides to clean the place himself. Within seconds, Yu has the entire room sparkling more than Dwayne Johnson's head, and the girls are shocked that the talentless loser is actually good with his hands. The next morning, Yu is on the bed, planning to bond with the sisters over breakfast since there isn't school that day, but he suddenly hears a loud bang. However, when he goes downstairs, he sees that the sound is coming from Nico's intense kung fu training, and he's shocked that she's already putting in that much work at 7 in the morning. As he enters the living room, he sees that the other girls are also locked in doing weird tasks of their own, so Kazuki explains that it's their morning routine. She then asks him to monitor the house since they all have to head to practice, and Yu tries to suggest eating breakfast first, but they refuse his offer, claiming that they're too busy for it. As the girls rush to their practice, Yu stops them and tells them they forgot something. They immediately freak out and start searching their bags, but see that they packed everything they needed, and Yu smiles while telling them to have a nice day. While walking away, the girls try to dismiss Yu's words as stupid, but their faces turn red, and they realize that they like it. At home, their father calls Yu again and asks him to help his talented daughters overcome their obstacles, and Yu is completely stunned that an average Joe like himself has been chosen for such an important task. The girl's father, Yuki, explains that Kazuki is facing a rough audition, while Nico is aiming to win the National Karate Championship again, and Miwa has an upcoming shogi title match, and he believes that helping them through these obstacles will help Yu get closer to them. Yu agrees with him, so he ends the call, but Yu wonders if they even need his help at all. While doing laundry, Yu rattles his brain to figure out how a worthless incel like himself can help the prodigies up their game since they even work hard on weekends. He imagines a scenario where the girls fail miserably at their tasks and get cracked by black gym bros afterwards, and realizes that they'd end up being called frauds by everyone if that happens, just like he was during his early years, so he decides that he'll do his best to help them. The first stage in his plan is to grow closer with the girls, so he heads to the grocery store to buy ingredients for a meal, which he hopes they'll get to eat together. Later that day, Nico returns home and screams in shock as she sees Yu cooking because she forgot that he's living with them now. He offers her some of the food to taste, but she thinks he's trying to charm her into giving him a sloppy toppy, so she tells him to eat it himself, claiming she has her own food. After taking a shower and freshening up, Nico walks out of her room and screams once again as Yu is now cooking chaotically like a demonic version of Gordon Ramsay. As she stares at him, wondering why he's going that far after she rejected his offer, Miwa arrives, so he promises them that he'll make a meal that's better than anything at Wingstop. Hearing this, Nico remembers how she and her sister used to reject the 5-star meals their maid prepares for them, but she decides that the low-fat foods she's packed up are what's best for her body. She tries to eat her gym snacks, but curiosity takes over, causing her to sneak downstairs to take a look at what Yu has prepared. When she sees the meal, she's completely stunned that the redhead loser prepared a perfectly balanced athlete's meal, and Bro spawns like a zombie while explaining all the nutrients in the food he prepared before falling from exhaustion. Seeing this, Nico realizes that he went through so much stress just for her, and her face becomes a red tomato again, so he asks her to have a try. She finally folds and starts eating the food while praising his cooking skills. Suddenly, Miwa starts sneaking around, but Yu appears behind her with his Diddy aura and creeps her out until she finally agrees to eat as well. Just then, Kazuki arrives, and she's baffled by the fact that her home suddenly looks peaceful, so Yu appears behind her once again and presents the special dish he made for her while majestically explaining the nutrients. However, Kazuki walks off, calling her sisters cheap hoes for folding because of normal food, but Nico explains that he did nothing wrong. Kazuki still refuses to join them because she doesn't want to eat a meal made by a gooner, and this leaves Yu completely stunned as she walks into her room. When Nico remembers how much effort Yu put into making the meal, she takes it from his hands and tries to eat it, but the idiot tells her that the meal contains carbs that'll give her the body shape of Shrek if she eats it. As she shivers in fear, he tells her not to worry because he plans to keep track of everything that goes into her body, and this makes her mint-sized brain have a complete meltdown. The next day, Yu sees that all the girls in school are glazing Kazuki like she's Sabrina Carpenter. But when he calls out to her, she aura farms while telling him to go swim in a mud pit somewhere. Yu suddenly starts talking like a telenovela lover boy while bringing up how he desperately wants her to try his food, and her fangirls freak out, thinking he's her bedroom dance partner, so she promises him that she'll cut off his danglers when they get home. He soon arrives at the karate club, where all the karate boys are begging Nico to spar with her, and calls out to her, but she remembers his rizful words from earlier, which makes her angry as she thinks he's there to pet her kitten. When he notices her scary aura, Yu immediately runs away and decides to meet up with Miwa instead to fix his problems. In Miwa's classroom, some baddies are having math problems, and Miwa flexes her god-tier IQ by telling them all the solutions to their problems, but this only creeps them out, so they walk away. When Yu arrives, he notices that Miwa is lonely, so he invites her to have lunch with him, but she refuses and runs away, so he chases her until they both run out of breath in the schoolyard. There, Miwa tells him about how she feels different from the other royals, since she can't hold proper conversations with her classmates, and Yu comforts her by bringing up how utterly useless he is at everything. However, Bro's brain gets fried by his own pep talk, so she yells at him, but suddenly starts laughing while calling him an idiot. As they have lunch together, Yu asks her what he could do about Kazuki, and she tells him about a day in their past when Kazuki asked their mom to make a special meal for her. This makes him realize that she's a crybaby who only eats meals made by her mom. But later that day, while he rattles his brain to figure out what her mom made, Kazuki suddenly collapses. When Kazuki wakes up, her sisters realize that she's sick, and Yu offers her a meal, but she sends all of them out of her room. Later on, Yu arrives to give her another meal, and she stands up to chase him, but ends up falling on top of him. He then offers to be her acting partner until she gets better, but Bro turns out to be a worse actor than Kevin Hart, so she chases him away. After chasing him away repeatedly, she decides to get back to her rehearsals one night because she believes that she's wasting her time in bed, but she sees Yu practicing hard for their personal rehearsals. This makes her realize how hard he's working for her, so she finally gives him a chance the next morning. And Yu actually pulls a good performance for the first time, so she agrees to eat his food, but blushes while telling him that she doesn't like veggies in her food. A while later, Nico and Miwa are at the dinner table, completely frozen in shock as they see Kazuki eating Yu's food comfortably, and they predict that the world is about to end. Yu praises Kazuki for managing to finish the food, and she explains that she could only pull it off because it lacked carrots, but Bro gives her the shock of a lifetime, informing her that carrots were indeed part of the food. While watching the girls have breakfast, Yu feels happy that he's finally managed to get these Powerpuff Psycho baddies to eat together. However, after breakfast, the girls inform him that they'd all be skipping dinner because their activities require them to work late that day. After they leave, Yu feels depressed that his harem paradise is already falling apart, but he cheers up when he remembers that this is something he's used to since his mom used to stay away at work for months sometimes. However, he starts to feel sad when he realizes that it's the same thing that drove a wedge between him and his mom when she was alive, and he starts brainstorming about a way to fulfill Yuki's request, until he remembers his mom telling him that she wishes for him to have a happy family. To figure out what a happy family truly is, he starts watching wholesome drama shows his mom acted in, which makes him realize that the kind of happy family he wants is the kind that always smiles together. During one of the episodes, his mom puts on a wedding dress as she's getting married to the main character, but Yu is so stunned by how gorgeous his mom looks that he actually considers playing with his love bone. Suddenly, the girls arrive, exhausted from all the work they've done, and they notice that Yu is crying. So he explains that he's watching an emotional show. Upon taking a closer look, Kazuki sees that his mom is one of the stars of the show, and she thinks that he's crying because he misses her. But bro is just geeking out because of how much he loves the show. Kazuki then tells him that he doesn't have to cover for them with chores, and Nico agrees that he should take things down a peg while calling him a freeloader. However, Yu says he doesn't see himself as a freeloader at all, and explains that he always used to run away from his mom because he thought they were different, but eventually realized that they weren't different at all, which is why he wants to truly bond with all of them to create a happy family together. Hearing this, Nico calls him a delusional fool for thinking something so blissful exists, but when she and her sisters see a scene in the series where the newly married couple kiss, they freak out, thinking that Yu plans to make them his brides. Yu then asks them to exchange birthdays with him and explains that he needs to know more about them since they're his siblings, but the three dumb prodigies are so blinded by their delusions that they angrily walk away. Later, in the bath, Nico rattles her brain to figure out how Nico is still maintaining composure despite living with three girls, but she suddenly hears a scream coming from the kitchen. When she arrives there, she sees Yu whining about how he forgot the bread he intended to use in making sandwiches for them, so she scolds him. He then warns her that she could catch a cold since she's wearing just a towel again, so she gets flustered and runs away, but bumps into Miwa on her way. Miwa notices that her face is glowing red, and she lies that she's only feeling sick, but Miwa accuses her of trying to get a taste of Yu's popsicle. Yu suddenly arrives and hands Miwa some towels, but when her hands make contact with his, her entire body boils red like gravy, so Nico asks if she's also secretly crushing on Yu. However, Miwa points out that she just admitted to being head over heels for the redhead bum and starts trolling her, which causes another round of bickering between the two. When Kazuki arrives, Yu asks for her help in putting the pot on the top shelf since he's a midget, and after she helps him out, he thanks her with a puppy dog face, causing her to look away while blushing. However, her sisters catch her red-handed, so they all start fighting until Yu scolds them. After they leave, Yu notices that the room is messed up, and this makes him frustrated as he realizes that the airheaded prodigies only cause problems for him. While cleaning up the room, he finds a picture of the three sisters together when they were much younger, and he starts geeking out as he's happy they weren't always so troublesome. However, when he meets the girls to return the photo, they all deny being the one who left the photo behind, so he realizes that one of them is lying to him. The next morning, all three girls inform him that they're all traveling for important events, and this frustrates him as he wonders why they have to go their separate ways all the time. That night, he informs them that he's already booked hotels for them and hands them the address to the rooms he booked for them. The following day, Miwa proves that she's a female Ison by defeating her opponent in the shogi tournament. She later arrives at the hotel, and she's shocked to see Kazuki there. As the girls ask how they both ended up at the same hotel, Nico arrives as well, and Yu makes a dramatic entrance, as he reveals that he booked the same room for them to bond in. When they ask what he's doing there, he explains that he's going to be their guide for the upcoming festival, because he secretly plans to make them recreate that wholesome moment from the photo. The girls argue that it's a distraction, but he explains all the ways that the festival will be helpful to them in their respective activities, so they finally agree. A while later, Yu takes the girls to a mall to buy some outfits, and Miwa and Kazuki select some pretty kimonos, but Nico refuses to pick one, claiming that they don't fit her. As the mall owner offers her a pretty kimono, she remembers her dad telling her that she's a tomboy, and her sisters make things worse by claiming that the outfit is too pretty for her. But Yu dips into his Riz bag once again by telling her that she should choose what she wants to wear because she'll look cute in it. When Nico puts on the outfit, everyone freezes in shock because she looks absolutely gorgeous. During the festival, the girls Nico and Miwa tell Yu that they want to explore the area and try out tasty food, so he advises them not to go too far off. However, he notices that Kazuki is already swarmed by a battalion of fangirls, and he realizes that she's truly a top-level star. As the other girls buy some festival treats, Yu feels depressed because he wanted them to enjoy the festival together as sisters, but Kazuki has now switched to work mode. He's amazed that she always stays in character as a stranger actress, and decides not to intervene. But Kazuki starts feeling bad when she sees her sisters enjoying the festival without her. As a fan asks to take pictures with her, another fan gets jealous and tries to walk away, but ends up slipping, and Kazuki catches her, causing everyone to scream in amazement. As Kazuki carries the girl through the festival grounds, everyone glazes her, and Yu follows her closely so he won't lose her. After dropping off the girl, Kazuki moves ahead, but she's suddenly pulled into a nearby bush, and her fans start wondering if Truck-kun has sneak attacked her. Inside the bush, Kazuki tries to yell at Yu for dragging her in, but he signals her to be quiet and gives her some festival food to enjoy herself as well. However, Kazuki rejects the food, saying she won't let him rizz her up with food once again. But he hands her some sandal straps while explaining that he noticed that she's been walking gingerly this whole time. Kazuki calls him a creepy stalker for watching her all this time, but he suddenly starts placing the sandal straps and notices that she's injured on her leg. When he asks why she didn't tell anyone, she explains that everyone sees her as Prince Charming, and she finds it ridiculous for someone in that position to need saving. However, Yu argues that it doesn't matter who is saved, because even a prince has the right to be a princess, and asks her to be whatever she wants. Hearing this, she finally stretches her leg for him, and as he patches it up, she gets flustered once again. Meanwhile, Miko swings her net violently during a fish-catching game but ends up failing, causing Miwa to laugh at her. Just then, Yu arrives with Kazuki, and the girls are shocked that Kazuki is wearing a goofy mask. So Yu explains that she's going incognito to avoid her fans. Afterwards, he challenges the girls to a tag team fish-catching match where he'd partner with Kazuki while Miwa and Nico will be their opponents, and they accept his challenge. When the match begins, Yu immediately flops by breaking his net, so Miwa and Nico start trolling him, causing Kazuki to smile under her mask. Miwa suddenly becomes a demigod of fishing as she catches multiple fish in a row, and even her own teammate, Nico, accuses her of cheating, so she calls them sore losers. As the girls argue, Yu advises them not to take the game too seriously and runs off to give them time to bond together. He soon arrives at a shrine where the game master explains that anyone who makes it to that torii gate by hopping on the lotus-shaped platforms will get to take a photo with the shrine's golden guardian, which will boost their luck. Hearing this, Yu realizes that it's at this shrine that the three sisters took the old photo he has since they're holding the guardian statue, and he decides to win the game so that he can recreate the photo with the grown-up versions of the girls, thereby making them bond even more. However, some ugly bozo who tries to clear the game suddenly sinks, and everyone realizes that some of the platforms in the water are rigged to sink, so they conclude that it's impossible. As more participants fall into the water, the game masters talk about how no one has succeeded in passing that test in 10 years, and back then, it was the three sisters who easily cleared the gate. When it's Yu's turn, he rushes in, thinking he has plot armor as the main character, but he immediately sinks into the river. On his second attempt, he makes it a bit farther before sinking again, and the other competitors start telling him to give up, but he still tells the game masters that he wants to go another round. Even after failing like 50 more times, Yu is still trying desperately to clear this task, and the game masters are so concerned for him that they offer to let him take the picture for free. However, Yu realizes that the girls cleared the game in the past by combining their strengths, and this gives him motivation to leap forward once again until he finally arrives at the torii gate. Since he's completed the test, the game masters ask him to take the photo, but he tells them to wait while he heads over to find the girls. However, as he returns to the festival spot, he sees that it's empty, and he hears an announcement on the radio saying that the festival has been cancelled early due to the extreme weather. This makes him realize that he only thought of himself once again, so he lies down in the rain and calls himself useless while moping about how he's failed to get the girls closer to each other. Suddenly, the sisters arrive and explain that they couldn't leave him behind because he's their festival coordinator before offering him their umbrellas to share. After arguing for several minutes about who gets to share an umbrella with their Oni-chan, they finally decide to settle things using rock, paper, scissors, and Nico ends up winning. As they walk home together, Yu's Sigma energy overwhelms Nico, causing her heart to start pounding. After taking a bath together, the girls meet up with Yu and notice that he's looking like a muddy rag, so they offer him a chance to have a bath and chill in their room for the night. After setting up his bed, Yu tries to search for some bath clothes, but every time he gets close to the girls, their brains go into airplane mode. Eventually, he gets the bathrobe and heads into the shower, but the girls are frozen outside the bathroom as they can sense his large eggplant exposed on the other side. Later that night, the girls are in bed, stressing over Yu, but he's happy because he successfully took the picture of the girls earlier that day. As he sleeps, the sisters wake up and start talking about how Yu helped all of them enjoy the festival in a way they couldn't before. They realize that he put in all that effort to make them bond with each other, and this makes them fall even deeper in love with him. Days later, Yu is happy because ever since that festival trip, the sisters have gotten closer and started helping each other out with even basic things. In class, he remembers promising them that morning that he'll make them dinner when they get back. So after school, he buys all the best cooking equipment at the local cooking store and marches home to prepare the meal. However, when he arrives home, he sees that the girls have shockingly come home early, but he also notices an extra pair of shoes outside the door. When he enters, he sees that Daddy Yuki is home and immediately thanks him for taking him in. Yuki apologizes for what happened to his mother and assures him that her talent will always live on as long as he continues to grow. But Yu notices that something strange is going on. With a dead serious expression, Yuki asks Kazuki for an update on her performance, and Kazuki responds like a robot that her recent performances have received rave reviews, and she also has an interview the next day. When he asks Nico, she replies with a dead look in her eyes that she won the tournament, and Miwa also gives the same update, so he tells them to keep working harder. Yuki suddenly gets up to leave, and this confuses Yu, so he explains that he needs to leave since the girls have completed their performance updates. When he finds the mask from the festival, Yu explains that he took them there to relive their fun memories, but Yuki suddenly wears the mask while telling Yu that he raised his daughters to be strong, and not fools who waste their talents on the weak. He then brings up the fact that Yu has no achievements worth mentioning, and claims that he's a worthless nobody despite being the son of the gifted actress, Ayase. While holding his shoulder, Yuki tells Yu that talentless losers aren't welcome in his home and tries to get rough with him, but the sisters storm in to protect him. They explain to Yuki that even though Yu doesn't have any real talent, he supports them through home chores, and it's because of this that they're able to focus on perfecting their talents. Yuki is surprised that they're defending a guy they barely know, and he asks them if he's been drilling their kitties in secret. But the girls blush while explaining that they only keep him around because he helps with house chores. However, Yuki claims that Yu isn't compatible with his daughters, but they all blush while arguing that they're compatible with him. Later that day, Yu is eating dinner while remembering how Yuki ordered the girls to stop socializing and attend events like festivals so that their performance would improve. After he left, Yu tried to invite them for dinner, but Nico told him that they no longer had time to eat his food anymore. Back in the present, Yu realizes that Yuki is the reason that the girls are working hard to perfect their talents, but he feels sad because they've started drifting apart again. After school the next day, Nico stays behind to practice after her karate team leaves, but when she eats her special gym snacks, she notices that it tastes bland now, which is weird because she used to eat them without any complaints in the past. Meanwhile, Kazuki does some ballet practices and gets praised by the instructor, but when she goes to drink her self-made smoothie, she notices that she no longer has the urge to drink it. At the same time, Miwa pops open a pack of Oreos while doing her shogi practice, but she realizes that they no longer taste good anymore, and she remembers the fancy meals that Yu used to serve her. All three girls are struggling with thoughts of Yu, while Yu himself is folding some clothes while thinking about how Yuki just shattered their dreams of being a loving family. However, he remembers his mother once again and decides that he'll do whatever it takes for them to go back to being a family. The next morning, the girls leave for school, but Nico feels sad because Yu isn't seeing them off anymore. Shockingly, she and her sisters find bento boxes in their bags filled with the 5-star meals that Yu normally makes for them, which makes them all blush uncontrollably. Later at home, Yu is surprised that the girls licked all their bento boxes clean, and Kazuki calls him for a meeting with the girls. She then proposes that if he keeps supporting them, they'll accept him as one of their own, and they all reveal that they have tough competitions coming up, which they need his help with, so Yu promises to help them out. The next day, Yu hands them their lunches on their way to school, and after he tells them to have a nice day, they all get flustered. During karate practice, Nico gets a call from her senpai, who informs her that he just got back from an overseas tour and is eager to see her performance in the next tournament. That evening, Miwa plays a game of shogi with her mentor, who defeats her before advising her to make up her mind about which path she wants to take in the tournament. When the sisters return home, they see Yu stepping on a batter while explaining that he's trying to make some udon, but he suddenly slips and falls to the ground, causing the girls to laugh at him. Soon after, he serves them their udon meals, and when Nico tastes it, she complains that it tastes mediocre, and the others agree. However, when they remember their dad's insults to Yu, they realize that even mediocre food can be delicious. As Yu does the dishes, Kazuki suddenly arrives and offers him a helping hand, and she admits that she was feeling a bit anxious about performing her next role until she came home and saw him goofing off. While trying to take the dishes to the cabinet, Yu falls on the floor, and Kazuki tries to check on him, but she slips and accidentally kisses him as she falls on him.
Nice.
Yu immediately starts apologizing to her, but she tells him with a calm voice that it doesn't matter since it's accidental. However, she's so shaken up by it that she freaks out whenever she hears the word kiss. She goes to her room to cool off, but Yu suddenly arrives and asks her to pretend like the kiss never happened, which makes her angry. The next day, Kazuki rehearses her upcoming romance role with her co-star, but when it gets to the kissing part, she gets a flashback of locking lips with the worthless virgin and immediately backs away. When she returns home, she asks Yu if he's free on Sunday, and once he confirms that he isn't, she goes into full Riz mode while asking him to go on a date with her. Yu is completely bamboozled as he wonders why the baddie actress wants to hang with gutter trash like him, and he realizes that it's because of the kiss. However, they have no idea that Miwa and Nico are listening in on their conversation from the balcony, freaking out with chilly red faces that are about to explode. Miwa thinks Kazuki is only rehearsing a corny pickup line from Game of Thrones with him, but Nico makes it clear that she's being serious about wanting to go on a date with Yu. After the pesky eavesdroppers crawl to their rooms, Yu asks Kazuki if her behavior is due to her upcoming role, and she confirms that it is before explaining that she's unable to grasp the heroine's emotions and mannerisms in the romance movie. Hearing this, Yu finally understands that she's only asking for a date to have better chemistry with her acting partner, and he's impressed that she's taking on new challenges despite being super popular when it comes to male roles. He agrees to accompany her on the date and keep it secret from the other two, but he points out that they need to add a bit more thrill to the date since it has to feel real. On Saturday, Nico meets up with Yu and asks him if he has any plans for Sunday, but he straight up lies that he only plans to watch Invincible and Goon to Chicken races, which makes her suspect that he plans on crossing third base with Kazuki during their date. Meanwhile, Miwa is still shaken up by the fact that Yu promised Kazuki an awesome date, so she and Nico act cold at the dinner table. Yu and Kazuki start talking in sign language, and this makes them so angry that they transform into Super Saiyans. The next day, Yu stands in the middle of the city waiting for his date to arrive while Miwa and Nico hide and watch from the bushes. When Kazuki arrives, Yu is left speechless as she's put on a dazzling wig and Snow White cosplay, which makes her look 10 times more beautiful, and when Yu starts glazing her, she explains that she's simply dressing like the heroine in her story to make the practice more effective. To fit the role even more, she calls him by his given name for the first time, and this makes him so happy that he promises to spoil her with his life savings if she keeps calling him that. Following Yu's date plans, they start heading to the aquarium, and the two eavesdroppers are annoyed that their sister might actually get to taste Yu's sausage before them. While walking through the staircase, Kazuki grabs Yu's hand and leads the way, but he reminds her that she's meant to be the heroine in this rehearsal, and takes the lead instead. At the aquarium, they enjoy the dolphin show, and Kazuki rattles her mini brain to figure out a cute reaction that'll impress Yu, but suddenly, the dolphins create a massive wave of water, which splashes at them. However, Kazuki uses her body as a shield to protect Yu, causing everyone around to stare in shock, but Yu tells her that she's failing her role again, and the people in the crowd start making fun of them. Following this, Kazuki fails miserably at every other feminine dating activity they try, and her busybody sisters are having a blast while watching this. After Yu leaves to use the bathroom, Kazuki starts feeling sad about the fact that she could be disappointing Yu. Suddenly, a scout from a talent agency arrives and tries to recruit her, but she knows she'll be in trouble if word gets out that she's dating a virgin, so she refuses his offer. However, the man insists that she follow him and grabs her arm. But like a true romantic gigachad, Yu arrives right on time to slap his hand away while asking what he wants with her. The man asks if he's her little brother, but he informs the loser that he's her date and tells him that she's already figured out what she wants to be. Unfortunately, the dude still doesn't take the hint, so he keeps pitching that she becomes an OnlyFans model for his agency until Yu boldly declares that he'll marry her, causing the scout to finally give up. As the man walks away, everyone around applauds Yu for proposing to his girl in public without worrying that he'll become an Instagram meme for being rejected. But Kazuki's entire face is melting because of his riz. Yu then grabs her hand while moving ahead with her, and this makes her even more flustered. But Yu's brain is spiraling as well, as he reminds himself that the reason he's doing this is to help her with her rehearsals and not raid her dungeon. Shortly afterwards, they arrive at the cinema, and Kazuki asks Yu to pick a romance film, so he picks a random one being shown on the poster. But Kazuki realizes that it's the first movie her senpai starred in, which she hasn't watched because of something she did. However, Yu insists that they should watch the movie because it would help her audition, and during the movie, Kazuki realizes that her mentor flopped the heroine role even though she's a great actress. As they walk out of the cinema, Yu starts regretting his choice as he realizes that Kazuki would only get worse after seeing such a dumpster-class heroine performance from her mentor. Minutes later, he takes her to the Ferris wheel to cheer her up, and the sisters feel that it's a stupid plan until they hear some randos talking about a myth, which says that any couple who rides the Ferris wheel ends up becoming bedroom riders for life. This makes Kazuki hesitate, but Yu drags her into the wheel, and as they ride together, she feels that he's doing too much for a rehearsal date. She remembers how her modeling career began blissfully, but soon became a burden as she now can't afford to fail anymore, since it would make everyone turn on her. However, Yu sits beside her and shows her all the photos he took of her during the date, and she's stunned by how charming she looks in them. So he explains that people grow to love shortcomings. On their way home, Kazuki tells you that she's finally ready to step out of her shell and play the roles she wants to play since she's no longer worried about fumbling, so he holds her hand while telling her to remember their date whenever she's stuck. As Yu glazes her, she thinks he's an idiot for not realizing that he's the one who changed her perspective, and she leans her face up close to his while telling him that she can't ignore their kiss because it was her first. Afterwards, she takes off her wig and announces that she's going back to being a prince, but her sisters notice that something about her has changed. Some days later, Yu and the girls are walking to school, and while Yu and Nico are studying for their rest, Miwa and Kazuki are completely relaxed. Yu understands why the genius girl isn't bothered, but he's confused that Kazuki is so chill, so she explains that there's no point in cramming last minute during test days. Miwa brings up the fact that Nico has terrible grades, so Nico explains that it's because she's focused on sports, and Yu offers to study with her. But while they do, everyone starts getting flustered because of Yu's dormant riz. Suddenly, a thief bumps into him while running ahead, and a lady informs them that he stole her handbag, so Yu starts chasing him down. The thief feels safe because he knows the imp can't reach him, but suddenly, Nico appears in front of him and tries to deliver her signature axe kick. Shockingly, the man blocks and swings a punch at her, while explaining that he's a karate master. Yudu starts worrying for Nico, but Kazuki assures him that her sister will handle the bozo, and like clockwork, Nico knocks the chopped fool out with a powerful kick. She then grabs the bag and calls the man an embarrassment to martial arts before returning the bag to the lady. However, Nico's arm sustained a minor injury during the brawl, and she tries to hide it, but Yu notices that she's bleeding, so he immediately offers to stitch her up. Nico claims that she doesn't need it because it's just a scratch, but Yu argues that even scratches still hurt, and applies first aid to her hand, while telling her that strong people still have the right to get scared, causing her to blush. Suddenly, the thief starts jolting as fast as he can, but he unfortunately runs into a group of high schoolers, led by an Omega Chad who instantly knocks him out with a kick. The bystanders recognize him as Hayato, the captain of the karate club in Iwayama High, who won the national championship the previous year, and Miwa notices that he looks familiar, so Kazuki explains that he used to come by their house a lot. Nico calls him senpai while asking why he's there, and he replies that he's there to get her. Later that day, the karate teams from Nico's school and Hayato's school gather in a dojo, and Hayato explains that the Iwayama karate team will spend a week practicing with Saika's team. However, the members of Saika's team are bummed out because Yu is tagging along, but the reason Yu is there is that he wants to confirm if Hayato is secretly cracking Nico. When Yu asks about Hayato's relationship with Nico, a karate club member named Toji explains that he and Nico started out at the same dojo, and he and the others get ticked off by the fact that Hayato is rizzing up all the karate baddies in the room. Nico then asks Hayato to spar with her for old time's sake, and he tries to refuse because he feels it wouldn't be fair to face a woman, but she insists, so he finally agrees. Yu and the Seika Karate Club boys start cheering Nico on, but immediately the duel starts. Hayato plays a free kick with her whole body, and everyone is stunned that their prodigy just got no diffed. She tries to demand a rematch, but Yu stops her, saying she should consider her body more, and scolds Hayato as well for going all out on his junior. A while later, Nico explains to Yu that Hayato is her hero because after she was taken to her first dojo by her dad, she easily defeated all the older boys there in battle. But they got annoyed and tried to hang up on her afterwards. But Hayato arrived like a knight in shining armor and knocked all of them out, causing her to stare at him like a weeb seeing a woman's cookie for the first time. Soon after that, Hayato moved away to a different middle school, but they met at the nationals, and ever since then, he's been her source of strength. Hearing this, Yu is surprised that Nico, whom he always saw as an independent warrior, has someone she looks up to, but Hayato interrupts their conversation by asking her to follow him again. Everyone freaks out as they think he's inviting her for a ride on his Willy Wonka. But he explains that he's trying to recruit her to join Iwayama's karate team. The karate boys are confused since they know Iwayama is an all-boys school, but Hayato reveals that it recently became co-ed and informs Nico that he's already received permission from her dad to recruit her so she can become stronger. He then asks her why she's still training with guys she's way stronger than, and the Seika karate boys argue that they aren't weak, so he shuts them up by asking which one of them can truly help Nico get stronger. Reality hits them like a brick as they realize that Nico has been carrying them all this time, and Nico tells Hayato not to badmouth her teammates, but they shockingly admit that Hayato is right, so he invites her once again to join his team. On the way home, Yu asks Nico what she feels about that whole thing, but she says it doesn't matter because Iwayama is basically Harvard for battle junkies, which is guaranteed to make her stronger. However, after remembering all the fun times together, she tells Yu that she wants to stay with everyone, and her karate teammates suddenly arrive to beg her to stay as well before running off. During dinner, Kazuki and Miwa suddenly start acting too nice to Nico, by handing her their precious things, and afterwards, Yu explains that they're acting that way because they also don't want her to leave. The next day in school, Nico tells Hayato that she's refusing his offer, so he tries to gaslight her into changing her mind. But Yu suddenly breaks out of the locker he's hiding in and challenges Hayato to a battle to prove he's stronger than Hayato so that his girl can stay right at home. Everyone immediately concludes that Yu is cooked since he's about to face the Gojo Satoru of the karate world, but Yu insists on going through with it, so Hayato agrees on the condition that Nico is his if Yu loses. During training, Yu tells Nico that he truly wants to be together with her and her sisters and pins her to a wall while asking her what she feels. Since she can't resist his chat energy, she admits that she wants to stay because she'll miss him sending her off to school every morning. Suddenly, Kazuki and Miwa jump out of their hiding spot with faces glowing red from embarrassment and offer to help out with the training. The next day, Yu and Nico are surprised by the sight of Kazuki and Miwa wearing aprons, so they explain that they're trying to support Yu by making dinner for him just like he does for them. However, the girls end up cooking a meal so horrible that it knocks out the animation team, but they still brag that it's better than stooping to instant noodles and start fantasizing about Yu enjoying the monstrosity they made. Hours later, the wannabe master chefs are still sulking about how horrible their dish turned out, so Yu offers to teach them how to cook, but they try to resist his offer until he baits Nico into agreeing to join the fun. After several hours of training, the girls finally manage to cook a proper plate of curry rice, and Nico is shocked that her sisters went through so much stress just to make her favorite meal. When she tries the food, she points out that it's delicious, and Yu tries to take a bite of his own, but his hand suddenly gives out because he's done too much toilet stroking. Seeing this, Miwa offers to feed him, causing both her sisters to lose their minds, and even though Yu is stunned, he actually eats the food, causing her to blush from embarrassment. Kazuki follows suit by offering him a bit of her food as well, and after he eats it, she gets flustered as she and Miwa realize that they're finally the ones giving something to Yu, who normally gives things to them. However, it doesn't end there because even during training, Miwa and Kazuki fully take on the role of Yu's personal simps by handing him towels and beverages, but this annoys Nico, so she decides to call it a day. 2 days before the match, Hayato is walking through a hallway, remembering how Nico promised that she would become stronger when they next meet, but he also relives the annoyance of her rejecting his offer to join his school. When Nico arrives, he tells her that she's become weak, and she promises him that she'll train to get as strong as Wonder Woman, but he explains that she's become weak in spirit because she's relying on someone else's strength to make her decision. Later, during practice, Nico acknowledges that Yu has actually started punching harder, but when she remembers Hayato's harsh words from earlier, she apologizes to him and claims that she's the one who should get stronger. Everyone around her, including her dad, Hayato, and the karate club members, has always wanted her to be strong because strength is her talent, and she does want to become stronger, but it's not all that she is. She does get scared of taking on big guys and gets tempted by pretty things, but she decided to keep her girly side hidden because of everything her dad and Hayato used to tell her. Nico then apologizes to Yu for getting him mixed up with her drama, but he says it's okay because he's the one who challenged Hayato. He explains that he used to see her as a guerrilla girl who only knew how to fight, but after getting to know her, he found out that she's very charming and feminine. Nico starts yelling at him for using illegal Riz tactics on her, but he confesses that he loves seeing the feminine side of her because he believes that the real Nico is the one who shows weakness sometimes. This makes her so flustered that she sends him flying with a Texas smash. But she also admits that she's indecisive because she wants to make her own decisions and, at the same time, allow Yu to help her. Hearing this, Yu then suggests that both of them should fight, but she complains that it's unfair, so he assures her that he has a plan. On the day of the match, both Yu and Nico stand before Hayato, and this confuses him, so Yu explains that he wants them to have 2 matches because Hayato's goal is to make Nico stronger, and if either Yu or Nico beats him, then she gets to stay in their school. Hayato agrees to this odd request, but all the students in the crowd call Yu a loser for making it a 2-on-1 battle after banning the opponent's right hand and foot. Nico informs Yu that he's turning into the villain, but Yu says he doesn't mind because it's all part of his plan to save her, and he suggests going first so he can damage Hayato enough to give her a win. As Yu walks to the battlefield, Nico suddenly holds his hand and tells him not to be scared, so he smiles at her like an idiot until she smacks him back to his senses. On arriving at the arena, Yu swears that he'll show Hayato the fruits of his 1 week of training, but bro ends up getting packed up with heated backshots in no time. He apologizes to Nico for losing so horribly, but she isn't too bothered since she saw how hard he worked during their week of training, and she promises him that she'll get them out of that mess. As she walks towards the battlefield, she feels anxious because she knows it's all over if she loses to Hayato again. But Yu tells her he'll see her later, just like he does every morning, and this makes her finally lock in. When the battle begins, Nico tries to punch Hayato, but he blocks, and she decides to keep attacking at point-blank range to prevent him from using his finisher kick. She then throws blow after blow on Hayato, and even though Hayato blocks, all the Seika karate nerds glaze her for being just as skillful as Jackie Chan. However, Nico is bothered by the fact that Hayato is predicting her every move, but he suddenly delivers a devastating hit to her stomach and feels confident about his story since he's been studying her battle style since they were little. Nico charges in with a kick, but he Uno reverses by blocking and delivers a kick of his own before landing another solid hit on her body. As Nico starts to despair, he asks her to just give up and come with him since he can't stand her being this weak, and she starts to consider it until Yu leads the Seika karate members in cheering for her. This makes her finally accept the two sides of herself as her true self, and she charges in with a form that makes Hayato think she's about to punch him, but she kicks him instead. She then pulls off another feint to land a powerful backhanded hit and double stomps him right in the face, causing everyone to be shocked. Yu is surprised that Nico is smiling, and as Miwa and Kazuki enter the room, Nico delivers a brutal kick, which knocks Hayato out. As everyone celebrates, Nico suddenly starts crying tears of joy. So Yu wipes her tears with a towel, leading to a heartwarming cuddle between them. Later that evening, Nico apologizes to Hayato because she knows he was just trying to do what's best for her, and he says it's chill and agrees to keep his promise by not trying to recruit her anymore. Nico then starts complaining about how her knight in shining armor turned out to be a bigger fraud than Megumi. But Hayato says that Yu left a mark on him and shows her a spot on his leg where the lowly boy focused all his attacks. He claims that it was due to this minor injury that he wasn't able to avoid her attacks, and explains that the reason Yu went that far to protect her is that he cares about her. Hearing this, Nico's face bleaches red once again as she argues that Yu is just the type who never knows when to back down, and Hayato finally breaks his villainous character while confessing that the reason he wanted to train with her personally at his school is that he likes her. She immediately freaks out and asks when he started feeling that way, so he reveals that he's been admiring her tiny cakes ever since the first day she entered the dojo. He then asks her who she wants to be with between himself and Yu, but she starts blushing, so he tells her not to bother saying her thoughts because he'd just get jealous of Yu if she does. As he walks away, Nico's brain starts blowing a gasket as she realizes that she actually has feelings for Yu, and she tries to shrug it off by practicing her taijutsu moves, but when she remembers Yu's advice, her heart starts pounding like the drums at a Michael Jackson concert. As she walks home, she feels bothered by the fact that Yu and the girls just left the dojo after she won without waiting for her, but when she enters the house, she sees that they've set up an entire party for her. This confuses her, so Yu explains that they're throwing her a party to celebrate her staying home and promises to cook a feast for her, but she thinks it's a dumb thing to celebrate since she's already staying at home. As Yu cooks the meal, Nico notices that he's still injured, so she asks him to let his hands heal, but he says it's nothing since he didn't contribute much during the fight, and he's eager to do it for her. As the sisters set up the table, Nico holds Yu's hand and offers to do one favor for him as a reward for the hard work he's put into her matter all week. She makes it clear that he can ask for anything, but Bro suddenly starts acting sus, so she imagines him asking her to eat his foot-long Subway, causing her to freak out. Her sisters connect to her saucy Delulu land via Bluetooth, and have their own sus fantasies of Nico and Yu, which makes them decide that they can't leave the two of them alone. They then offer him a chance to ask for a favor from them as well, so Bro asks all three of them to accompany him to the theme park. This only makes them see him as a spineless idiot with a tiny pecker, but he explains that it's always been his dream to go to the theme park with his family. However, the girls are still worried because they know everyone who sees them will assume that they're dating. Suddenly, Nico gets a call from her dad, but before she can answer, Yu snatches the phone and tells him that the prodigies need time to rest as well, because if they're always forced to perfect their talents, they'll eventually grow too tired to perform when it counts. However, Yuki coldly asks him to give Nico the phone, and after he does, Yuki praises her for defeating Hayato, who is the strongest karate practitioner in the country, but Kazuki isn't surprised because she knows he's only glazing her for surpassing his expectations. Deep down, Yuki wonders when Nico became so strong, but he gives her permission to go on the trip, so Yu celebrates. Several days later, Yu is standing at the park, waiting for his baddie sisters, and Miwa is the first to arrive, so he praises her outfit. However, the true fashionista, Kazuki, arrives, looking so drop-dead gorgeous that Miwa starts crashing out at her, and Yu compliments her new look, causing her to blush. Just then, Nico arrives in a sweet Disney princess outfit, and everyone is shocked that the tomboy is actually looking cute for once, but Yu glazes her anyway. As Yu walks ahead, the girls all cook up their individual plans to claim his eggplant for themselves. Soon after, Kazuki takes Yu to a haunted house, which has a story similar to a movie she's in, and she feels like she'll definitely win this three-way battle by showing her cowardly side. However, when they enter the haunted house, a ghost actor tries to scare her, but she doesn't flinch and instead gives the girl a lecture on how to be a proper horror movie character. When she realizes how badly she's fumbling her lady act, she starts acting like a scared girl, but when she turns back, she sees that her man is shivering like a total moron in the corner. She reminds him that it's all fake, and he claims that he isn't scared, but when some zombie hands crash through the door, he immediately hugs her in fear, causing her to blush. After the haunted house experience, Kazuki piggybacks Yu outside, and when he thanks her for helping him, she blushes in front of the girls, which makes them conclude that she's the weakest of them. Afterwards, Miwa takes Yu to a roller coaster to ride with her, hoping that she can pull a cowardly girl performance that will make him fall for her. However, after the ride, Yu immediately passes out on a bench, and when she wakes him up, he confesses that he's scared of heights, and he only went through with it for her. Hearing this, she lets him rest his head on her thick thighs, so he thanks her, and she immediately starts blushing. Since her two sisters failed to make Yu fold for them, Nico takes Yu to a spinning ride, hoping to charm him with a girly act, but things go off the rails, and she ends up saving him from falling. After that, they all enjoy some fancy junk food together, and the girls still try to win Yu over, but all of them fail. Later that evening, Yu sees a family taking pictures together, and Nico realizes that he truly just wanted to spend time with his family, so she takes a group selfie with them. The girls then admit that they had fun during the trip, and thank him for everything he's done for them, and this makes him finally blush. He thanks them for agreeing to come on the trip with him, and they all blush as well. The next day, Yu notices that Miwa forgot her lunch, and when he remembers how much she loves the food he makes, he decides to go give it to her. Soon after, Yu is on the way to Miwa's location when he sees a baddie with black and pink hair, and he thinks she's impressive for reading a book on the road until she jams her head on a pole nearby. As she moves ahead, she nearly enters a danger spot on the road, so Yu guides her away from it. When she asks what his problem is, he's shocked that she hasn't realized how hot it is that day, and he hands her a piece of candy, which can replenish the nutrients she's lost from sweating before running away. When Yu arrives at the shogi tournament room, he spots Miwa having an intense match, and he starts gushing over her because she looks as cool as Zoro while playing shogi. He asks the dude standing beside him if Miwa is winning, and the dude says she's currently under pressure because her opponent knows how to counter all her moves perfectly, but he says there's a way for her to come back. As Miwa struggles to make her next move, Yu feels concerned for her, but he knows he can't say a word to her during a match because it's against the rules. However, Miwa becomes a female isekai, as all the puzzle pieces connect in her mind, and she does her signature lip lick, which makes the man excited. When Yu asks what's going on, the man explains that Miwa always licks her lips when she knows she'll win. As expected, Miwa's opponent ends up resigning, and this makes Yu so happy that he rushes over to Miwa and starts calling her the Messi of shogi, but she shyly tells him to stop because she isn't used to getting glazed. When they meet outside, she asks why he's there, so he hands her the lunch pack and reveals that he added some extra side dishes because he knows she burns a lot of energy during her matches. He then decides to leave, but Miwa asks him to eat with her while making puppy dog eyes, and Yu immediately folds. However, just as Yu is about to leave to get some snacks, the girl from earlier shows up and snatches Miwa's food. The girl, Sakura, accuses Yu of putting Viagra in Miwa's food, which throws her off her game, and she decides to confiscate the lunch pack, but Miwa immediately snatches it from her. Sakura is shocked that her rival is so worked up over a lunchbox, but Yu gets excited that they're rivals and starts glazing them as a baddie version of Naruto versus Sasuke. However, Miwa reveals that they aren't rivals at all because she's beaten Sakura over 100 times and Sakura has never beaten her once, and she starts making fun of Sakura, but Sakura glazes her in response before promising that she'll be the one to dethrone Miwa. Seeing this, Yu realizes that Sakura really likes Miwa, and Sakura tells her that she has to focus on her studies since they're rivals. Some minutes later, Sakura joins Miwa and Yu for lunch, but this confuses Miwa, so Sakura explains that eating with her is part of her research. Miwa uses a smug voice to tell Sakura that she can't have any of her food, and Sakura claims that she has her own food, but when she opens her bento box, they see monstrosities that look like something a horse shot out of its stump hole. When Miwa asks why she cooked trash, Sakura explains that she was too busy with research that she didn't have time to worry about the appearance of her dish. Suddenly, a dog barks, and this startles Sakura so much that she accidentally throws her rice ball in the air, but when she tries to catch it, she slips. Yu jumps in to save her, but he slips as well, and she ends up falling on top of him. As he checks on her, his Sigma energy makes her kitty start meowing, and Miwa notices this, so she yells at them to cut out their telenovela drama in the middle of the street. Sakura immediately slaps Yu and starts accusing him of trying to steal her V card, and he tries to calm her down by handing her the rice ball, but she complains that she can't eat it anymore. At that moment, all three airheads at the scene realize that Yu and Sakura are very much alike. But Sakura gets back up and advises Miwa to work on her gameplay for the next match. As Miwa scolds her, Yu starts laughing, causing Miwa to accuse him of bullying her. But the real reason he's happy is that Miwa isn't as lonely as he thought, since she has such a passionate friend. Apparently, Sakura is a professional shogi player in her first year of high school, but since there are so many talented young shogi players, she got overshadowed at first. However, she kept working hard until she started winning titles and gaining recognition. But the current title holder, Miwa, defeated her multiple times flawlessly and became the most promising young shogi player, so no one sees Sakura as her true rival except Sakura herself. The next morning, Yu meets up with Nico and Kazuki, and they all head to a shrine to pray for Miwa's success in the upcoming tournament. On arriving there, they see Sakura praying, and she explains that she's willing to accept help from that divine, because she knows that she isn't as naturally gifted as Miwa. She asks why Yu is hanging with the talented sisters, so he explains that he's now living with them, and he came there to pray for her, since he's her supporter. However, Sakura starts crashing out about how he's only a talentless loser, who is hiding in her shadow, and she claims that she won't give up just because she isn't gifted. While walking away, she swears that she'll defeat Miwa in the match that day, but she ends up slipping, and Yu falls on top of her once again,
Yeah, boy.
causing the girls to freak out. As Sakura tries to push him away, Yu tells her that they're very similar, and this makes her start blushing again, so the jealous sisters pray with fiery hearts that Miwa destroys her in the match. Soon after, Miwa and Sakura officially face off in the shogi battle while Yu watches from his phone, and he notices that Nico and Kazuki are worried about Miwa, so he drags them to watch it with him. Shockingly, Miwa loses the duel, and Yu starts freaking out, but the girls tell him to act normal, so he makes dinner. When Miwa arrives, they offer her dinner, but she claims that she doesn't need it because she wants to practice for the next match. Later that night, Miwa meets up with Yu, who gives her a special chocolate dish he made for her, and blushes while eating it. 1 week later, during the second Keika title match, Miwa gets overwhelmed once again and resigns during her battle with Sakura. Yu runs over there, wondering how it's possible, and when he arrives at the building, he hears everyone around talking about how the formerly undefeated prodigy has been clapped twice in a row by Sakura, who couldn't light a candle to her just days ago. He remembers a meeting with her sisters where they explained that title matches are best 3 out of 5, and he's completely shocked that Miwa now has her back against the wall. As he calls out to her, Sakura suddenly arrives and informs him that Miwa has already left. She then calls Miwa a washed-up loser and explains that she relied so much on her genius that she didn't do enough research, which made her moves sloppy. As Sakura gloats about beating Miwa, Yu suddenly thanks her, and Sakura is confused, so he explains that she basically just revealed that Miwa could make a comeback if she does enough research while working on her game plan. He also points out that she intends for him to go comfort Miwa since she suffered such a crushing loss, and with her face glowing red like a stop sign, she argues that it isn't what she meant. However, Yu points out that the reason she's still there after the match is that she was waiting for him to show up, and he praises her for making a cool entrance, causing her to blush even more. As he walks away, he promises her that this isn't the end of Miwa, and she gets hit with another wave of his gigachade energy, which makes her speechless. When Yu returns home, he sees Nico and Kazuki looking like zombies that just got cracked by Godzilla, and when he asks what happened with Miwa, they explain that she ran away shortly after returning home. Yu gets scared that she's about to unalive herself because of the loss, but Nico claims she isn't that weak and explains that she's only feeling a bit depressed. Back when Miwa returned, her sisters tried to motivate her with Andrew Tate quotes, but she told them to shut up, claiming that she isn't like them, before storming out of the house. In the present, the sisters say they're shaken up because it's the first time they've seen Miwa crash out like that, so Yu immediately rushes out to look for her. As rain begins to fall, Yu runs through the street, thinking about all the pleasant memories with Miwa, which makes him wonder what made her that mad, and he finds her playing with some cats in a pet store. He immediately expresses relief that she's okay, but she asks what he thought happened to her, so he explains that he thought she was wallowing in depression. After wiping himself dry, Yu sits beside Miwa and asks her if she comes there often, so she explains that she visits there on occasion because she couldn't possibly take care of a cat in their messy apartment. Yu is pleased that she has a way of cheering herself up, and he tells her that he has faith that she can beat Sakura, but she suddenly stuffs her face into one of the cats while telling him how much dedication shogi players put into their studies. While struggling with tears, she admits that her shogi isn't like that, but Yu is confused by this because he sees her practicing hard at home, so she explains that to her. Shogi is just a way of being accomplished since she could have chosen any other game. Back when she was still in diapers, her father told her that she was a true prodigy and ordered her to show everyone how truly gifted she was, so she chose shogi to be her game. Soon after, she broke the record for the youngest champion in shogi, And as Yuki showered her with praises, her sisters also praised her for beating male participants as well. Back in the present, Miwa explains that the only reason she's playing shogi is so that she get praised by her dad and be an equal to her talented sisters, who she admires. However, she could never relate to them because they're chasing things they love, unlike her, who is using shogi as a means of accomplishment. While crying her eyes out, she admits that she was always going to fail at shogi, but Yu comforts her with a head pat and asks her to take a detour with him instead of going home. Shortly after, Yu is dragging her through the pleasure district of town, and she feels that Bro is about to raid her private dungeon, but he takes her to a large supermarket instead and explains that it's best for her to buy gifts for her sisters to make amends for how she treated them. After shopping, they arrive at school, and Yu explains that they're there to make the treats for the girls because doing it at home will only ruin the surprise. As Yu makes the food, Miwa asks if he secretly stole Gordon Ramsay's talent since he's so good at cooking. So he explains that he sucked at everything during his early years and started to grow apart from his mom until he made her dinner one day, which made her smile. However, all his other food efforts ended in disaster, and his mom could no longer eat the food since she was busy, but eventually, she got hospitalized. When he asked her what she wanted to eat back then, she said she wanted something he made. So he spent days learning how to cook until he successfully made a cup of pudding. As his mom tasted the pudding, she said it tasted good and asked him to make more for her, and that was how he started supplying her food in the hospital. Back in the present, Yu explains that he got better at cooking by imagining how people's faces would light up when they taste his food and points out that Miwa looked happy while choosing the ingredients because she was secretly imagining her sister's reaction. Some hours later, they finished making the treats for the girls, and Yu tells Miwa that she isn't shallow like she claimed, because her motivations are to make the people she loves proud of her. He claims that it's what makes her a kind person, and starts admiring the treats she made for her sisters, and this makes her realize that she cares deeply for him as well, causing her to blush once again. Some minutes later, Yu is sleeping soundly in the kitchen, and Miwa tries to pet him but hesitates and draws an image of him on a marshmallow instead, which she then kisses. When they return home, Nico and Kazuki yell at Yu for staying out late with Miwa, but Miwa explains that it isn't his fault and hands them the treats she made. On the day of the third shogi match, Miwa puts on her fancy green kimono and prepares to enter the arena, but Yu arrives with her sisters, and they all wish her good luck. However, Miwa claims that she doesn't care about the title anymore, and this makes her sisters lose their minds, asking what she means, but Yu smiles because he knows she's now competing for the love of her family. While walking to the game room, she remembers what Yu said about cooking for his mom and also has flashbacks of all the praises her family members have given her due to her prowess in shogi. She realizes that she's just like him, and while staring at the group selfie they took, she decides that she'll make her family happy by winning the tournament. In the game room, it's announced that Sakura is currently leading Miwa with 2 wins and no losses, which means that Miwa will surrender the title if she loses this match. However, Miwa arrives, beaming with so much confidence that everyone in the room thinks she's unlocked Conqueror's Haki, and Sakura realizes that she's about to deal with the real Miwa because she's emitting the same aura she felt when they first met. During her early years, Sakura sucked so badly at everything that everyone treated her like a pile of garbage. One day, her dad took her on a trip to meet her grandparents, and her grandpa invited her to play a game of shogi with him since no one ever played with him. During the game, Gramps explained the rules of shogi to her and pointed out that the pawn is the weakest piece on the board since it can only move 1 step in a round. This made her toss it away, but he explained that they always move forward 1 step at a time, no matter what, and this made her admire them. He then started geeking out about how pawns turn into a powerful general when they make it to the other end of the board, but his wife reminded him that he's talking to a little girl. Sakura then asked him to teach her shogi, and after days of tutoring, she got so good that she beat the old-timer in a match. Following that, she defeated several shogi players and won championships until the day she met a true shogi prodigy, Miwa, who crushed her in record time. While chasing after her, Sakura wondered why Miwa had everything that she didn't have, despite the fact that they were in the same grade. Eventually, she started failing at school tests, so all the girls in class started making fun of her. But Miwa sat beside her and scared the girls off by reading out their browser history. She then tried to yell at Sakura for not standing up for herself, but noticed that she was crying, so she tried to calm her down. But Sakura felt miserable as she realized that Miwa was better than her at a lot more than shogi. In an attempt to console her, Miwa praised her for perfectly countering her pawns during their last game, and this made Sakura remember her grandpa's words about pawns, so she got back up and declared Miwa as her rival. Ever since that day, Sakura kept chasing Miwa, but Miwa didn't even bother to look back at her like a serious adversary. However, now in the present, Miwa is finally looking at her, and this makes Sakura happy. During their match, the 2 shogi queens go bar for bar, pulling off their best moves and counters, and everyone around is amazed by their skill. After minutes of heated back and forth, Miwa refreshes herself by drinking water, and she remembers her grandfather's preachings about pawns, which gives her the motivation she needs to make another epic move. However, Miwa does her signature lip lick and gracefully delivers a move which makes Sakura smile as she resigns. Miwa ends up winning the fourth match as well, putting the two ladies in a tie, and the day finally arrives for them to engage in the fifth battle that would determine the winner of the tournament. Even though they're tied, Nico feels confident that Miwa will win since she has her momentum back, and she wanted to watch the match in person, but Miwa told her not to abandon her own activities for her. However, Yu puts on his cheerleader gear while revealing his intention to cheer her on, but the girls tell him not to take that goofy outfit out of their home. As the two shogi queens prepare for their duel, Nico trains as hard as she can at the dojo while praying for Miwa's success, and Yu cooks up a special dinner for Miwa, hoping that she'll come out victorious. At the end of the match, Miwa walks out victorious, and the paparazzi start taking pictures of her whilst praising her for defending her title. As they ask her questions, Yu suddenly calls out to her, so she rushes to meet him, and the idiot immediately starts crying. He then congratulates her for defending her title with a warm smile, and her heart skips a beat as she starts to have flashbacks of all the wistful things he's ever told her. With her face glowing bright red, she tells him that he's currently making the face she loves the most and kisses him on the head, causing her sisters to lose their minds. Just then, some old American folks arrive to congratulate Miwa, and she heads over to greet them, but Yu is shocked that she's speaking fluent English. So Kazuki explains that she went overseas for an exchange program. Miwa then meets back up with her family and explains that the kiss was merely a greeting, and even though the girls know that it was something more, they choose to let it slide. After the foreigners leave, Nico and Kazuki praise Miwa, and this makes her so happy that she pecks both of them. Yu loves this wholesome scene so much that he takes a photo of the three of them, and as they play around together, Sakura watches from afar, and she's now gained a new wave of confidence, since she knows that pawns are destined to take the spotlight someday. The next day, Nico destroys some tiles at her dojo while Miwa argues with Grok, and Yu makes Kazuki a special smoothie, which makes her cringe from its sour taste. He then hands Nico a towel and feeds Miwa her food, causing all of them to blush. During breakfast, Yu and the girls smile while talking to each other, and Yu realizes that he's now living in a happy family, just like his mom wanted for him. As the girls leave for their respective practices, Yu rushes outside and wishes them a nice day just like he always does. That's it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed and watch this video on screen.